whole host of larger issues. But today, we talk about digital media and the rollout of a particular company, Relay. Alissa Pemberton, VP and Head of Digital Marketing for Relay. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Did I screw up that introduction? Everything okay?
This close.
This close. But it worked. The bottom line is it worked. So you brought 20 years of consumer insights and experience, Citibank, Rosetta. Tell us kind of the elevator speech of how you got here.
Absolutely. So really my career has been focused on a few things with a common theme, and that's really understanding how consumers think and helping to associate that with things that brands bring to the market. And that actually has been done primarily through consumer research, both quantitative and qualitative. So very, very math focused, but applied to marketing problems, right? So having had a lot of experience in marketing and tech in different dimensions, I was fortunate enough to speak to a former colleague who brought me into 1001 to help launch Relay.
And launching Relay is really kind of the key to a general business discussion about the new millennium and how you use digital and marketing generally to launch a brand. Mm-hmm. You really came in at the ground floor. You started a company, it's consumer marketing oriented, but you are at the forefront of launching this brand. Talk about how you're doing it generally and digital specifically.
Absolutely. So the first step was we identified who our consumer was. What are characteristics from a demographic, behavioral, psychological, emotional perspective that makes this consumer tick and that we think would help attach them to what we're bringing to market. And so once we established who our archetype was, we really did design the product around that consumer. We speak to that consumer in her language. And as we prepare to roll out digitally, we're leveraging all of those insights from the research to very specifically use data and technology to identify and build awareness amongst that consumer base.
Business show, business question. Years ago, people would think digital would default to old guys like me who don't know how to use an iPhone 10. Today, agencies primarily are focusing on that. I'm not sure if the matrix has crossed yet, but today certainly digital is much more important than it was a few years ago, and the sky's the limit.
Absolutely. I mean, our primary source of communicating with our consumers and finding them will be digital, right? We're doing other things, such as our partnership with sports, with IndyCar. Our Relay car has been running with driver Zach Veach. And
very well done.
But primarily, and outside of that partnership, we are using digital media to find our consumers, and marketing has changed. I worked in the world where really the tools we have in digital didn't exist. And now we can find consumers where they are and speak to them in a space and a time where we believe they're receptive.
Data collection, everybody's talking about that as the kind of new high issue world. Security issue, you look at venues, they want to collect information on tickets, concession, marketing, and everything else. And I'm sure it's in your corporate interest to maximize data collection through digital as much as you can. On the other hand, there are privacy and security issues. How do you reconcile all of that?
So every brand should care about a clean ecosystem. If we can only reach consumers by somehow taking information from them that we don't deserve the right to have, it's not going to work long term. I think that's a very short-sighted way to look at the world. Of course, that data is rich. Of course, we want data, but there has to be proper controls in place so that consumers give permission and understand what's being tracked about them. And also so that platforms like Facebook and Google keep their inventory clean. There's a lot of fraud in the marketplace, and brands pay the price for that. So we all have a vested interest in protecting the consumer so that we can have a productive conversation with the consumer.
Let's talk sports. And you're not a sports person, but you're a marketing person,
yes,
and you're a digital person, so you're more equipped to handle this than most people are. Many people now understand there's a young superstar rookie phenom, Zach Veach, and not too many people knew him but for this wild, yellow and orange Relay car, which is kind of cool. So explain the nature of how you would use a up-and-coming kid with a great message to help promote a new brand.
Absolutely. The partnership with Zach came about because I think we have a lot of shared values. Relay and some of the other 1001 brands are about discipline and planning and making every dollar or every incremental incremental piece of effort work and work harder for you. And I think Zach is the type of person who always works harder to be better. And so from a fundamental level, I think the match made sense. With respect to digital and marketing, we are sort of promoting the things that Zach's doing, and we are reaching out to Zach's fan base to let them know more about Relay and people who are interested in sports generally, because we see an intersection there as well.
And the fun thing is the demographics of a Zach Veach, he's a kid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not 16, but he looks like a kid. And so it's the early 20s millennials, but your job is to take that demographic and transpose it to Relay and expand it therefore, right?
Mm-hmm. I think Zach's fan base for sure will be young, but also I think people who are fans of racing come at any age. And so our demographic for Relay is a little bit older, but I think there are certainly fans within the base of IndyCar, as well as Zach specifically, that are a good fit for Relay.
Philanthropy. Everybody does it. The philanthropic budget, we're told, in $1 trillion sports business is now 12%. It was 8%. So everybody knows that they're either doing the right thing or they're supposed to do it. Dan Towers, you're blessed with an incredibly philanthropic individual. From your perspective, what's the role of giving back and philanthropy in brand building and sports?
I think it's very important, not just to look good to the public, but I think to invest in the spaces where we want people to understand that we want more than a transactional relationship with them. And so as we show that we are here to empower people, part of empowering individuals is empowering their communities. And so a lot of the activity that happens, whether it be for Relay or Group 1001 as a broader business, is aimed at that objective.
And obviously one of the key reasons you're here is the Iowa Championship, but the Women in Tech Foundation that Dan basically staked and co-founded, that is a charitable beneficiary of this golf tournament. So the golf tournament is so much more, because it's creating an institution that will allow women to be empowered and trained for years to come. Talk about that a bit.
I think it's fantastic. Clearly there are gaps with respect to gender parity in technology and technology roles. And I think this summit brings a lot of awareness and energy behind this, particularly for the Indianapolis community. So this is just one of many of the things that the business is doing to show that we are investing in communities. And I think that it's clear, even in its second year, that there's great momentum behind this.